The Beyond the Fame podcast is fed by Lido Pizza. Lido Pizza never cuts corners. For menu and locations, visit LidoPizza.com. And of course, this podcast would not be possible without our longtime title sponsor, the Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races in West Virginia. September entertainment includes Kenny G on September 5th and One Night of Queen on September 6th. Details and tickets at HollywoodCasinoCharlestown.com. Must be 21 to enter the casino floor and attend a show. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Welcome to the newest episode of Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. I'm your host, Jason Fraley, picking the brains of the top filmmakers, musicians, and artists of our time. Grammy winner Sheena Easton performs live at the Ram's Head in Annapolis, Maryland on September 9th. She joined me to reflect on her biggest hits, including Modern Girl, 9 to 5 Morning Train, and the James Bond theme for Your Eyes Only. Hey, Sheena Easton. Hey, thank you so much for joining the show today.
Thanks for having me.
We are talking because you are coming to the Ram's Head in Annapolis, Maryland on September 9th, so only a few days. Get your tickets, everybody. Do you play Ram's Head pretty frequently, or do you know if this is the first time swinging through Annapolis, or where does that fall like in your trajectory?
I think this is the first time, but I've said that in the past about venues, and I get there and there's a picture of me up on the wall in the dressing room from 1982 or something. So, but I do think this is my first time there.
Okay. Well, it's a really cool spot. It's intimate, so people will be right by the stage and eating dinner.
Awesome.
It's a cool spot. But maybe when you look at those pictures, you're like, wait a minute. Am I like a time traveler? It's like Jack Nicholson in The Shining at the picture. Like, what's going on? But either way, it's going to be great. What can we expect from the set? Are you touring a specific new record, or is it's more of a
No.
greatest hits kind of a vibe?
This is me going out and giving the fans the hits. So they're going to basically get the hits that I think they would expect.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a few curveballs, there's a few cover tunes and tributes to other artists mixed in there that all tells a little bit of a story. But I have a great band, great bunch of guys that play here every night on all of the top shows in Vegas, and they sub out so they can go away with me when I go away to work. And I think fans that come to see me time and time again in the shows, some of them come to see me, but some of them come just to hear the band. They're that good.
Well, there's no shortage of hits to choose from. I believe I read a stat, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you were the first and remain the only artist to ever have top 5 records on 5 major Billboard charts.
I would imagine that record's got to be broken by now, but maybe not. Maybe it's because, I did dance and pop and all different R&B and different styles. And I also had a country hit with Kenny Rogers. So that gave me, the top country hit. But I think it was Kenny that takes the credit for bringing me into that world. Yeah. So without him, I probably would be missing that one.
Well, either way, even if it's been done since, you were the first, supposedly.
I was the first.
You always have that title. Well, I would love to, in addition to teasing the Annapolis show, I love to do some deep dives into, chronologically as best we can of your career, some of the hits we might hear and some of the backstories, etc. So I know you're born in Scotland in 59. Is it true you were inspired to become a singer by seeing Barbra Streisand singing Memories in the movie The Way We Were? Is that true?
No, I've been singing since I was, a little tiny kid and always wanted to be a singer. But when I saw her perform that, when I heard that in the movie theater, I was young, I was a teenager, and that kind of really connected with me, and it made me realize that that's what I wanted to do for a career. I wanted to be able to touch people the way her voice touched mine. So that solidified in my mind that I was really going to go for it as a singer if I could.
Absolutely. Well, Streisand's a legend. And I believe that might have even been, was that Marvin Hamlish writing the song? I'd have to go back and look at that, but I think so.
I think that was, yeah.
It was a late, great movie with Streisand and Redford. All right. Well, all right. So then I believe you got your big break age 19. It was a British reality show. It wasn't a singing competition like The Voice or American Idol. It was more like a documentary.
It was a documentary.
Yeah. The Big Time Pop Singer was the call. So it was documenting you as you were just about to become a singer, right?
Yeah. It was a very unusual format, and it was it was something that, hasn't happened since, I don't think, but it was a series of 5 or 6 documentaries they made, and it was taking someone from different fields, someone who could cook well, and they got the chance to cook a huge banquet for people. People got to do something in the professional world that they were amateur good at, so to speak. So they
Right.
thought, hey, let's get a young singer and maybe take them to a record company. And if the record company likes them, then we'll record a single, and it shows what it's like to record a single. And it gives this young person the experience of being in a recording studio. And it was supposed to be a sort of one off novelty experience like that.
Right.
But when they took me to EMI Records, EMI liked what they heard, and they said, well, you can still go ahead and film this, but we want to take her on as an artist. And they signed me up for an extended recording contract, and
That's
I
great.
went
Well,
on
you
from
can
there.
film this docu series if you want, but we're signing her. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's great. And of course,
I was
that first
lucky.
album everyone remembers. It was called "Take My Time" in 1981. "Modern Girl" was a huge hit, but arguably even bigger. I think went to the top of the charts. Number one smash hit was "9 to 5" in parentheses Morning Train. My baby takes the morning train. Everybody knows it. Did you have to add that little Morning Train parentheses to avoid confusing with the Dolly Parton song "9 to 5"?
Yeah, because Dolly had literally just had her hit with it in the States. So when it was being released over in the States, we didn't want DJs and programmers to look at it and think, oh, it's a cover of Dolly's tune.
Right. And
We
the movie
needed
had just
them
come
to,
out too. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, we needed them to know it was a different song, and we couldn't change it to something completely different, like, oh, I love you, baby, or something. It had to be something that made sense. So they just changed the title up a little bit, and that let people know it was a different tune.
One of the catchiest pop songs of all time. Everybody knows it from the radio, but also I finally remember Kramer jamming out to it in Seinfeld. Was it like a montage of going? I think that was the episode he was getting his briefcase going into work, even though he actually didn't really work at the place, I think. And he gets fired. The boss is like, I got to let you go. And Kramer's like, I don't even really work here. That's what makes it so difficult. Anyway, you're forever tied to that
Oh,
Seinfeld episode. All right. Well, off of that, in 81, you win the Grammy for Best New Artist, and that's a big deal because you beat the likes of Luther Vandross and
I know.
the Go-Go's, like all timers, and they picked
I
you
know.
above all those. What was it like hearing your name called, getting up to give that speech?
I was genuinely shocked. I did not expect to win at all. You can tell, I think, if you look at my face, I was like, what? I thought Luther was going to get it. And Luther teased me about it later when I met him a couple of years later. We were joking around about it. But I would have given it to Luther to this day. I think he should have got it.
What a voice. Rest in peace. Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. What a voice. One of my favorites. I wish we'd recorded something together. That'd have been amazing.
That would have been great. But you deserve, as great as the Go-Go's and Luther and everybody. You deserved it. You were a force to be reckoned with there. I guess you get your second nomination for the James Bond theme in For Your Eyes Only in '81, starring Roger Moore. I think it was Moore's fifth Bond movie, I think. And you actually appear in this, the great opening graphic sequences that Bond movies always have. You were one of the rare artists that actually appears in the sequence. Was that always a bucket list for you? Because I know Sean Connery, the original Bond, was Scottish, just like you. So was that always something like a bucket list and you just freaked out when they called and asked you to do it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was so young at the time. It was right at the start of my career. I was shocked that they asked me.
Mhm.
But at that time, the Bond themes were very unusual. It was the first franchise where you associated the film and the song together.
Right.
When the big movie was coming out, there was always a big record that went with it. There was no other thing like that at the time.
Yeah, like
So to
like Live
be,
and Let Die comes out and let's see what Paul
yeah,
McCartney and Wings doing. Yeah, it's amazing.
yeah,
Incredible.
yeah. It's so I was shocked, but yeah, I mean, growing up as a kid, hearing all those early Bond themes, you always fantasize and imagine yourself, singing a Bond song. I never thought it would happen. So when it did, the best.
So good. And yeah, like I mentioned, it was Moore's fifth time. It was Live and Let Die, Man with the Golden Gun, Spy Who Loved Me, another great Marvin Hamlish pen song, Moonraker, and then your movie For Your Eyes Only before Octopussy and A View to a Kill. Did you ever get a chance to actually meet Sir Roger Moore? Again, rest in peace. We're saying rest in
Yes,
peace to these legends, but did you actually get to meet 007?
we did a press junket together for the movie, and we did, some pictures together and some interviews together. So yeah, I mean, we didn't hang out and we weren't best friends, but I
Right.
did get to meet him.
Well, forever, frozen in time, thanks to that movie, and it's not only nominated for a Grammy, but nominated for Best Original Song at the Oscars. It sadly loses to Arthur's theme from Arthur. So damn that Burt Bacharach and Christopher Cross. But no, in all seriousness, it's one of the great Bond themes ever. And do you have a favorite Bond song of all time that you didn't do? I mean, there's Shirley Bassey's Goldfinger and Diamonds Are Forever.
Yes, Bassey. I grew up where Shirley Bassey was the ultimate Bond singer to me. You know, she had all the drama and the charisma and everything that I think marked what a Bond song was back in the day. But I also love the Carly Simon and I love the Adele Skyfall. I mean, once you start talking about it, there's so many. But if I had to pick, I would choose Shirley Bassey.
Oh, it's so great. Plus the horn section in the background, the wah, wow, wow, wow,
Hmm.
wow. It makes it. But yes, thanks for shouting out Carly Simon from the Spy Who Loved Me, and nobody does it better. That's a great one too. And Adele, Skyfall. I know it's a relatively recent one, but that one's right up there for me too.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Well, back to your music career. I know after Bond, you do Madness, Money, and Music, and there was didn't you do an early version of Wind Beneath My Wings before Bette Midler did Beaches, right? You got in there first. So
Yeah.
not many people remember
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Followed up with the duet you mentioned with Kenny Rogers, the cover of Bob Seger's "We've Got Tonight." Who needs tomorrow? Memories of working with Kenny. That's a classic.
Yeah, Kenny was such a gentleman. I mean, he had been in the business for so long, and I was still relatively new. I'd done enough by then to where I kind of knew what I was doing, but he was a true gentleman, and he really we struck it off together. Like when we recorded the song, we weren't in the studio at the same time. He had already recorded his vocals, and I added mine onto it. But he enjoyed our collaboration so much that he invited me out to perform in a few of his shows, and I had him on my TV special, and we did it together then. So it was really nice.
That's awesome. Yeah, Kenny Rogers and you together is awesome. I'll just have to list these because I know we're up against the clock. But you had a couple other cool collabs with Luis Miguel. That's
Mhm.
how you won your second Grammy in '85. Memories of working with Luis.
Yes, you're chronologically, you're right. I did work with Luis Miguel before I worked with Prince. Did
Yep.
I, or did I work with Prince around the same time?
Luis
I
was
don't know.
85. Prince, when you got the look, was 86. And then you were nominated for
Yeah,
Telephone Long Distance Love Affair even before that. And
yeah.
Strut, actually, when you were starting to
Hmm.
do the dance pop, around Sugar
Hmm.
Walls, all that stuff. So there was a good bit of Grammy recognition in there. But yeah, I guess the question is, what's the key to a good duet? I mean, you've worked with Prince, Luis Miguel, Kenny Rogers. Like, what's the key to, taking two different styles and meshing it into one?
There's got to be chemistry with the vocals. There's got to be something that makes sense when you hear the two voices together,
Yeah.
even if they're different. You know, each artist has got to stand alone, but when they come together, it makes even more magic.
Yeah.
And I think that's what creates a hit. But of course, the first thing is the song. If you have a great song, that is the key to the performance. And if you really love the music, if it inspires you, if it moves you, that's going to show in your performance. And usually artists feed off of each other. So that helps make something that the fans will respond to.
Definitely. All right. Well, we've mentioned a lot of the big songs, and there's many more albums we don't have time to go into. Gosh, and we didn't even mention "The Lover in Me." That went to like number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100. So there's a lot of big pop songs. But as we wind this thing down, I do want to mention some of your acting jobs. We've talked about you singing songs in movie soundtracks, but you actually have stepped in front of the screen for some cool stuff. Like you were in what, like maybe 5 episodes of Miami Vice on TV in the late '80s, and your character actually marries Don Johnson's Sonny, right? So just
Mhm.
memories of that whole experience. That show was a pop culture, phenomenon. But
Yeah.
you're forever, people will be watching reruns, and you're gonna pop up in 5 of them episodes in a key storyline.
Yeah, yeah, that was my first acting gig on TV, so I had a lot to learn. And Don was great. He was real patient. He explained so much technical stuff to me when, of course, directors and camera crew don't have time. They're just setting up, getting ready for the shot, and you got to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So he really took the time to make me look good in front of the camera, and I'll always thank him for that. And that set me up, and it gave me enough confidence to do a bit more TV acting. And of course, I did Broadway a couple of times and I did the West End in London. So I've been able to do a few things.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned some of your stage roles because you were in the Broadway revival of Man of La Mancha in '92. I guess that was Raul Julia's last stage role, I think.
Yeah.
And then after that, you did Rizzo in Broadway revival of Grease in
Mhm.
'96. And then the West End one you were talking about was 42nd Street.
That's right.
Right.
Yes.
Had you been singing that Rizzo song, like there are worse things I could do for years, and now suddenly, did you already have it memorized, or did you have to actually
No,
study it?
honestly, it wasn't, a lot of people are just dyed in the wool Grease fans. They
Yeah,
just, they live and die it. It was like their High School Musical.
right.
When my kid was coming up, High School Musical was never out of the VCRs. For some people of that generation, it was Grease.
Yeah,
I liked Grease, but I wasn't crazy fanatic Grease
right.
fan. Um, my favorite thing about doing that show was the ensemble, was the girls that all played the Pink Ladies.
Yeah.
Each one of those actresses were such funny, great women that we had the best time off stage. And, we would get told off for laughing too much and having to pull it together when we were on stage because we enjoyed each other's company. So that was the best part of performing in that show for me.
Awesome. I invite everyone to check out our John Travolta episode in the archives talking about playing that on stage and then screening it. It's a riot. Final seconds, I want to give you some credit for some of like the voice work you've done, some of the animated stuff. Well, I guess you did a song, A Dream Worth Keeping in Fern Gully, Last Rainforest, but then you voiced some characters in TV's
Oh, yeah.
Gargoyles. What else? All Dogs Go to Heaven 2, Phineas and Ferb. You've done a bunch. So how rewarding is it to know that like a whole nother generation that maybe missed your first run of all those 80s radio hits, to them, you're just a little cartoon. They didn't even probably know it was you.
When I first started to do animation voiceovers, I thought I'd impress my kids, right? I thought they'd be, "Oh, that's my mom." They didn't care. They
Right.
didn't care there was mom. They're like, "Mom," and they would change the channel to watch a different cartoon. I'd be like, "But wait a minute, I'm going to be a little dog in a second." They go, "I don't care, Mom." They were not impressed by anything that I did,
They changed
but
the channel on your lines. They didn't even stick
oh,
around.
they would be like, "Mom, we want to watch such and such," whatever it was, SpongeBob or whatever they were
Yeah.
watching. But that was an experience where in the room with that voice talent, these men and women that they literally could have conversations where they played three different characters talking to themselves and switch seamlessly out of the voices. And I'd sometimes forget to come in with my line because I would be just staring at them.
Like, how are you
Couldn't
doing
believe
this?
what I was seeing. Yes. And there
Like a
were
Robin Williams
funny,
style of genius to be able to bounce back and forth. Like,
exactly.
it's crazy.
Amazing. So it's one of my favorite things to watch, is to watch good voice artists at work, good Saturday morning cartoon people. They're the best.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for, a trip down memory lane of all these roles in TV, Broadway,
Thank you.
movies, and the records. But everyone, come see the show at Rams Head in Annapolis, Maryland on September 9th. You'll hear all the songs we talked about: Modern Girl, 9 to 5 Morning Train, Love With Me, For Your Eyes Only, We've Got Tonight, a million more. Thanks for taking the time to join us.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks so much for listening to Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. Our theme music is Scott Buckley's Clarion. Remember to give us a 5-star rating if you like what you hear. We'll see you next time.